Hey there! Today I'm going to show you some powerful Excel secrets that will be incredibly useful for your work. These top 30 tips and tricks will help you to save time and simplify your tasks. I'll cover solutions to the most common challenges you face in Excel and help you work smarter, not harder. Let's get started. Number 1. How do we insert data from a screenshot? Here I have a screenshot. It's an image in Excel, but it could be from the web. How do we extract the data from this image and insert it into Excel without typing it all out? We're going to use the snipping tool and the data tab to do this. You could be browsing the web or watching a YouTube video. You find some data that you want to pull out into Excel. First, we're going to take a screenshot by using the shortcut Windows key, Shift, and S. This brings up the snipping tool and we'll select the area of the screen we want to take a screenshot for. Notice this goes to the clipboard and we can head back to Excel. Next we go to the Data tab and then click on From Picture. In this drop down we want to select Picture from Clipboard. And that's going to extract the data from our picture. Now sometimes you'll see that you need to review, but in this case it's all clean. So we'll click on Insert Data. And remember, you're responsible for validating the accuracy of all this data. We're fine with that, so we're going to click Insert Data. And there we go. The data from that screenshot was captured and put into Excel. Number 2, sum values fast. 3 different ways. Now normally if you have data like this, you can sum it by typing equals sum, open parenthesis, and selecting the data range that you want to sum, like so, and hitting enter. But there's a much faster way, which is you press Alt and equals, and it produces the sum formula. Another way you could do this is to select the data that you want and head down to the status bar. Now you can right click on this and customize whether you want to show the sum or a different total. Now here's a third way. You can click on the data you have and then go to the Insert tab in the ribbon and click on Table. This is going to create a table. Make sure that the data range is correct and your table has headers. Get that checked. Click OK. Now let's change the formatting a little bit. I'll make it just all white. And what you can do here is go to Table Design and then click this total row. Once that's checked, go down here, you'll see there's an extra row that's been added. And that shows the sum by default, but you can use this drop down to change it to another total. Number 3, toggle filters on and off. Say you have some data here and you want to filter by south. Simply press Ctrl-Shift-L and you'll see these drop down arrows. You can click on them and then deselect all and select the value you want to filter by. Then click OK. And there it's filtered. Now if you want to unfilter, just do the same. Press Ctrl, Shift, and L. And there's your original data. Number 4, fast filter trick. This is even faster than the previous one. So if we want to filter by south, let's right click on the cell, then head down to filter, and then filter by selected cell's value. You click on that, and voila, all done. Number 5, center text across cells. Now you can select a cell like this NA and then click on Merge and Center up here, but that's a general no-no because it means you can't sort, select, or filter very easily. I'll show you why. So if I try to select column B, you'll see the NA just expands the selection and I can't just select the values in column B. Instead, what we can do is center across the selection. And so you see in this case, the NA is centered across the selection. I can select column B, no problem. How do we do this? I'll select the 3 cells I want to center it across. Then I'll press Ctrl 1 to bring up Format Cells dialog box. I click on Alignment. Where it says horizontal, I click on the drop down and click on Center Across the Selection. When I hit OK, it's going to do the centering across those 3 cells. And it means I can select, no problem. Number 6, cell message. You can leave a little message for your user like this. If I click on this cell, you'll see there's another message. And then this one has a third message. How do you do this? It's not a note and it's not a comment. Let's try it here. So I'm going to go to the Data tab and then click on Data Validation. And then in the Input Message tab, I will enter the title here, and input message. Here's the message. Then click OK. And there you go. There's your new cell message. Number 7, freeze top row. Here I have some data with headings in the green at the top. If I scroll down, you'll see the headings disappear. How do I stop that from happening? Well, it's pretty simple. Just head to View and Freeze Panes, and then click on Freeze Top Row. Now when I scroll, it will keep the headings visible at the top. There's another way to do this, which is when I unfreeze panes, I can select cell I2 and then click Freeze Panes and Freeze Panes again. This is going to freeze everything above and to the left of cell I2. So when I scroll down, you'll see the headers stay there. And when I scroll to the right, you still see column H. Number 8, freeze top row. I have this data here. If I scroll down, you'll see the header disappears, so I can no longer see what's at the top row. I can solve this by using a table. I click on a cell like this, press Ctrl A to select all, then press Ctrl T to create a table. Click OK, and I'll change the formatting a little bit, make it light. Now watch what happens when I scroll down. The column headers are replaced by the data headers. So that's another way to freeze the top row. Number 9, freeze bottom row. Here I have some data. I'm going to scroll right to the bottom and you'll see there's a total row here. How do I keep this in view when I navigate the rest of it? Well, it's quite simple. Head to View and then click on Split, and you see this gray border has formed. Now I can click up here and then scroll up and down to my heart's content, and you'll see the total row stays where it is. Number 10, print headers on every page. Now headings and data don't automatically show on new pages. If I press Ctrl P for print preview and then scroll down, you see the green headers at the top disappear. They only appear on the first page, but not the second, third, and so on. To get these headers to show, all we need to do is go to Page Layout and then click on Print Titles. And then when we go to the rows to repeat at top, we'll select row 1 and then click on Print Preview. We'll see now when I scroll down, the headers remain at the top of every page. Number 11, move cells with mouse. Let's say I select these rows. I can move my mouse until it changes to a move pointer, like so, and then click and drag these into a new position. Let go, and there they are. I'll hit undo. Now I can also insert them. So instead of moving, I'll click and drag to start the move. Then I'll hit and hold Shift. So when I hold Shift, it changes the move pointer to an insert pointer. And then I can let go, say here, and it will insert the cells instead of move them. Number 12, copy cells with the mouse. Let's say I wanted to copy these 3 rows to the bottom of the table here. I can move the mouse until I hit the border, and then I'll press and hold Control, and it changes the mouse pointer to a copy pointer. Now I click and drag, and when I let go, it creates a copy. Number 13, copy only the visible cells. Let's say we want to copy this data, but we don't want the months. So I'll right click and click on Hide. Then I'll select this, press Ctrl C to copy and Ctrl V to paste. You see what happens is that Excel still copies what was hidden, January, February, March. Instead, we'll go back to this stage, we'll right click, click on Hide. When I select this visible part, I'm going to click on Find and Select. Then I'm going to click on Go to Special. And when we're in the Go to Special dialog box, I want to click on Visible Cells Only. Now when I press OK, that's changed to highlighting. It's now going to be only highlighting visible cells. When I Ctrl C to copy and Ctrl V to paste, it ignores everything that's invisible. There's also a keyboard shortcut for this, which is Alt and semicolon. And when you press Alt and semicolon, which is the key to the right of L, it only selects the visible cells. Number 14, delete blank records. Let's say we want to just keep those records with a dietary requirement, but delete all the blank ones. We'll first apply filters. Remember, Control-Shift-L from tip number 3. Then we select from the drop down, and in here we deselect all, and then click on blanks. Now when I press OK, this will show just those rows with blanks. Now I can select those rows like this, and right click on the rows, and then when I delete row, it will get rid of all those rows which are blank, and I can press Control-Shift-L to unfilter, and there we are, left with just those records with dietary requirements. Number 15, fill blank cells. Let's say instead of deleting the blanks, we want to fill them in. How do we do this? Well, we first select the cells, then press F5 for the Go To dialog box and click on Special. Now we click on blanks to select blanks and click OK. Then we type the value we want, in this case N/A for NA, and then we hit Control and Enter, and that fills in the values with NA. Number 16, fill numbers to the nth value using a series. Now if I wanted to fill the numbers from 1 down to 30, I could type them in like this, but it would take a long time. Instead, we're going to take a shortcut. We'll select that cell with the 1, then head up to Fill, and then click on Series. We want the series in a column. We're going to step up in steps of 1, and we'll stop at the number 30. Now when we click on OK, there the numbers are, filled from 1 to 30. Number 17, fill dates to the nth value using a series. Let's say we want the first 100 days of the year. We'll use the previous trick to fill this series. So we'll go to Fill, click on Series, Columns, Step Value 1, Stop Value of 100 for 100 days. Click OK. Then you click on this date, the first day of the year. Then move your mouse to the bottom right hand corner. It turns into a fill handle, and double click it. Now we have the first 100 days filled in. Number 18, flash fill numbers. I've got a column of product codes here. How do I extract the first 4 digits of this code and do it all the way down here? Instead of typing them all out, I can just type the first one, 6198, press Control Enter, and then press Control E for flash fill. And look at that, just like a flash, it's filled all the numbers out. Let's do the same for the middle 3 digits. So I'll type in 786, Control Enter. What's the magic keyboard shortcut? Control E. That flash fills it all the way down. And we'll do it for the last 4 digits. So 9519, Control Enter. And what's the magic shortcut? Control E. There you go. Done. Number 19, flash fill letters. We've got a list of names, and we want to extract the initials. So for Robert Williams, RW. What do? We use this as a template, R.W. and then we press Control E, and it flash fills all the initials. Can Excel handle middle names? Well, let's try it out. Robert James Williams. We put in James in this column, then we try Control E, and yes, it seemed to pick out the middle names as well. Finally, we've got full names with the middle name. We want the initials plus a surname. So in this case, it would be R for Robert, J for James, and Williams. Here's the template. I'm going to press Control E, and flash fill fills it out. That's a great result. Number 20. Smart use of clipboard. Everyone knows you can copy and paste items, but do you know you can copy and paste multiple items? To do that, go to the Home tab, and where it says Clipboard, click on this little arrow to launch the system clipboard. We can reposition this as we want, let's say here. Then we can copy items, and when we copy them, they appear in the clipboard. Let's copy a few more. Copy, and this one, Control C to copy. Now if we select another cell, we can then paste all, and the values are pasted where you've selected. You can also do this with other apps. So we'll switch to Word. I'm going to copy this text and switch back to Excel. Then click in this cell and click on this. So you see the text from Word was copied into Excel. And to clear it, you just have to click on Clear All, and that clears the clipboard. Number 21, quick bar chart with the REPT repeat function. Now you don't have to use an Excel chart to create this look. Instead, you can do it with the REPT repeat function. So to make this work, I'm going to type in a formula equals REPT, open parenthesis, double quote, and then I'll insert a pipe, and then double quote, comma. What I want to do is multiply this value by this scale here, and press F4 to lock that. Now I close parenthesis, hit enter, and fill this down. Now I head up to format this red, and I change the font to Playbill, and then I align it to the right. And there we have the left side. Now we do the same for the right side. Equals REPT, open parenthesis, double quotes, pipe, double quotes, comma, the value, which is this 76%, multiplied by the scale, and I'll press F4 to freeze it. Close parenthesis, enter. Copy this down, then change the font to Playbill, change the color to green, and we're done. Plus one little note, to find the pipe, this is usually on the right of the keyboard between the Enter key and the backspace, and you have to press Shift to get it. Number 22, McKinsey Lollipop chart. Now this is a very McKinsey-esque chart. It's called a lollipop chart because of these little round things at the end. When it's been built, you can filter it and sort by smallest to largest to see the bottom 3 performers, and then sort by largest to smallest to see the top 3 performers. So how do we go about building this? So to start, we need these 3 characters for the start of the chart, the line in the middle, and the end element. To get this half rectangle, I went online and searched. I found this source, https://symbl.cc/en/258c. So I copied and pasted that into cell L5. Then the line I got by pressing Windows and period to bring up the emoji picker, and then going to the symbols and finding a line, so you can scroll down to see punctuation marks and other symbols. And the same for this circle. I use the Windows Emoji picker. Then the next step is to combine these characters in a formula. We're going to type in equals the start character in L5, press F4 to lock it, and I'll write ampersand to connect it with REPT for repeat, open parenthesis. Then we'll have the line character in L6, lock that with a 4, comma, and the number of times we'll do it is this number here in F5 divided by the scaling factor here, 800, just to fit it inside the width of this column. I'm also going to lock that scaling factor with F4. Then I'll close the parenthesis, and I'll connect it with an ampersand to the end element in L7 and lock that with F4. Hit enter, and you can see it's taken a shape. I can copy this all the way down, press Ctrl D, and resize this a little bit. Now I want to change this so it's gray. I select the text color and choose this gray color And we're halfway there. Now we've got to add top 3 and bottom 3. We need to rank the values. So we'll use a rank formula. Type in equals rank, open parenthesis, this value to the left, comma, and we'll rank it across all of these values. And remember to press F4 to lock the range. And then order will be descending, top to bottom. So we'll type in 0, close parenthesis, enter, and then double click that to fill down. That gives us the rank. And now we need to apply conditional formatting rules to highlight the top 3 and bottom 3. So we'll first select this range, go to conditional formatting, click on new rule, and what we want to do is format using a formula. The first formula will be if G5 is less than or equal to 3, and then the format will select to be color blue. Click OK and click OK to that. So you see that's now highlighted the top 3 in blue. We'll do something similar for the bottom 3. Highlight the range, click on conditional formatting, then add a new rule. Click on use a formula to determine which cells to format, and use this formula. Equals G5 greater than, open parenthesis, max, open parenthesis, $G $5 $G $37 close parenthesis -3 close parenthesis. So this will determine the highest rank, and we subtract 3. So if our value is greater than that number, we're going to format this a red. So we'll choose red here and click OK, and OK again. And now you see we've got the conditional formatting highlighting the bottom 3, and we can check that by pressing Ctrl-Shift-L and sorting this by smallest to largest and largest to smallest. Number 23. Display file path and workbook name. To include the full file path in your worksheet, just need to use this formula, equals cell, open parenthesis, double quotes, and in fact we'll just double click on file name, comma, A1, close parenthesis, hit enter, and you'll see it's produced the full file path, and in the square brackets it has the workbook name, and then after the square brackets it has the sheet name. Now you can also include just the workbook name if you have Excel 365 with a simple formula, which is equals text after, open parenthesis, text before, open parenthesis, cell, open parenthesis, double quotes, file name, close parenthesis, comma, double quotes, close square brackets, double quotes, close parenthesis, comma, double quotes, open square bracket, double quotes, close parenthesis, enter. And that provides you with the workbook name. You can also do this in older versions of Excel, but it's going to take too long for me to explain what this means, so I'll give a shout out to Dave Bruns of XLJet. His excellent formula tutorials include one explaining this. So you can go to xljet.net/formulas/get-workbook-name-only. Thanks, Dave. Number 24. Hide cell contents from view. Now you can hide cell contents by changing the font color to match the background like this, but if you've got lots of different colored backgrounds, it doesn't work quite so easily. Instead, what you can do is select the text or the values you want to hide, then press Ctrl-1 for the Format Cells dialog box. Inside Number, click once on Custom, and then change the type, delete this general, and replace it with 3 semicolons. So semicolon, semicolon, semicolon. when you click OK, you see the text has gone. And the reason this works is because custom number format sections, number 1 is positive numbers, separated by a semicolon, number 2 is negative numbers, semicolon, number 3 is 0 numbers, semicolon, and number 4 is text. So when you just use 3 semicolons, you're saying you don't want to show anything for positive, anything for negative, anything for 0, or anything for text. And that's why 3 semicolons hides all values. Number 25, center text across cells. So in tip 5, we saw that we could center text across cells by selecting, to say, these 3 cells, pressing Ctrl 1 to bring up the Format Cells dialog box, and then selecting Center Across Selection, and then hitting OK. That's quite a few steps to do. So instead, if you're having to do this a lot, you can replace it with a single click with some VBA code. So on the right here, I have the VBA code that does this. We create a subroutine, sub center underscore across underscore selection. And then we have these 3 lines in the middle with selection dot horizontal alignment equals xlCenterAcrossSelection, end with, and then end sub. So I'm going to pop that into my personal macro workbook. See, this is the subroutine here. And then head back into Excel. Click here to customize the quick access toolbar. Click on more commands. Then I'll select macros, center across selection. I'll click on add. Then I'll modify it. Change the name to something easier to see, center across selection. And I'll use this arrow as a symbol. Click OK. You see it's added this arrow, which stands for center across selection. It will run this macro whenever I click it. So as a test, I can now select these 3 and then click this arrow, and you see it's centered across the selection. Number 26, remove cell formats. So if you have to do a lot of cell formatting and you want to get rid of cell formats quickly, you could select a range and then go click on clear and then ClearFormats, and that will do it. But if you do this a lot, you might also want to add a button to the quick access toolbar, just like we did in the previous tip. So to remove formatting, all we need is a bit of VBA code, just 5 lines. We're going to call it sub remove underscore formatting with selection dot ClearFormats end with end sub. And that's all you need. So I'm going to put it into my personal macro workbook so it's accessible anywhere I use Excel. And you see this is the remove formatting subroutine. So I'll head back into Excel and then click here to customize the quick access toolbar. Click on more commands. Choose from macros and then scroll down to find remove formatting. I'll add that. Then I'll modify this. I'll change the name to remove formatting. And I'll select this eraser symbol, click OK, and OK again. Now we have a new button on our quick access toolbar. I can now remove formatting by selecting cells and clicking once here. Number 27, filter function, single criteria. Here's a table of sales figures. What happens if we want to extract those figures which are region East? We can use the filter function in Excel 365. So type in equals filter, open parenthesis, choose the array. Then what we want to include is everywhere where the region equals this value East. And when we close parenthesis and hit enter, you see it automatically spills all the values down to the last one. And we can see this if we change to South and hit enter, it automatically updates and only includes as many cells as needed to return all those values. Number 28, filter function for multiple criteria. So we have the same sales figures as before, but this time we want to be able to specify 2 criteria. First, we'll have a look at this one, where we have East as the region and David as the rep. So we'll use the same function as before, equals filter, open parenthesis, specify the array like so, comma, then we'll specify open parenthesis, the region column equals this value east, close parenthesis, and this time we're going to multiply by another criteria, open parenthesis, and choose the rep column where that equals this value here, David. We'll close parenthesis and again and hit enter. So that shows all the records where the region is east and the rep is David. We could also do this with or, so where the region is east or where the rep is Chris. And to do that, we'll use equals filter, open parenthesis, choose the array, and then comma. The first criteria is open parenthesis, choose the region column. That equals the value here, east, close parenthesis. And now to use or, we'll add open parenthesis where the rep column equals this name here, Chris, close parenthesis twice, and hit OK. Now that returns us all the records where the region is east or the rep is Chris. Number 29, create new sheets from values in a list using a pivot table. So we've got a list of sheet names and we want to create one sheet for each name in the list. This is a 3-step process. First is to insert a pivot table. The second is to create a filter based on the sheet names. And the third is to show report filter pages. After that, we have to do some cleanup. So let me show you how this all works. So I've copied the sheet names into a new sheet. I click on Insert, click on Pivot Tables, create a pivot table on a new worksheet. Then inside the pivot table fields, I'll drag sheet names down to filters and head back up to where it says Pivot Table Analyze. We're going to go to the options, click down on Pivot Table Options, and the second one, we'll click on Show Report Filter Pages. Then we'll click on OK, and that generates one sheet for each of the names listed. We've got to do some cleanup, so I'm going to hit Shift and select Saturday, which means I've selected all these sheets from Sunday to Saturday. I need to delete this in columns A and B because we don't want it. So I'll press delete, and then I'll right click and delete the columns. Now I'll select A1, and what that's done is cleaned up Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I can get rid of sheet 2, delete that, delete, and then reorder Sunday to be after Saturday like we specified in our sheet name list. Now that is quite a lot of hassle and so many steps to remember, and it's a good trick if you've got, say, 10, 20 different worksheets. But if you do this regularly, check out the last tip, tip number 30, which does this much faster. Number 30, create new sheets from values in list using VBA. Let's say we want to create a new sheet for each week in the year. So I've got this list going from week 1 down to week 52. We'll use a bit of VBA code down here to do this for us. So I'll briefly explain. Sub for sub procedure, add underscore sheets underscore from underscore selection. We're first going to declare these 4 variables, and the main part happens here when we loop through every cell in the selection to create a new sheet and rename it. So for each C, in this case cell, in range source, we will assign the variable WKS name, worksheet name, to be trim c.text. So the text that's inside the cell. That just removes leading and trailing spaces. Now, if the length of WKS name is more than 0, then what we do is we add worksheet. We do it after worksheets.count, which is the total number of worksheets in the workbook. So this just adds a new worksheet to the end of all the worksheets. Then ActiveSheet.name, we've just added that worksheet. That's still the active sheet. We'll change the name to be the same as the variable WKS name. And we do that for every cell in the selection until they're all done. And now all you have to do is put this macro inside your personal macro workbook. So here it is. I've copied the text and pasted it in here. I'll give you a copy of the text in the description below this video so you can copy and paste it yourself instead of typing it all out. But I recommend you add it to a module inside your personal macro workbook so that you can use it whenever you've opened Excel on your desktop. Next, we're going to have a look at the list of worksheets. I've copied this into a new workbook. So all the way down to week 52. And if I select all that, Control A, and then head back into the VBA editor, and then run this macro by pressing this run button. So it's going to do some work, and then it's added one sheet for each of the names in the list. And I can verify that by right-clicking here and looking down. Yes, we indeed do have all the worksheets done in order. So that's much faster than using the pivot table method. All you need to do is create the macro once, and then you can reuse it anytime you want. Get your complete copy of all 30 tips and tricks from the link below. And do you want to know another powerful secret? It will save you time and make you look really impressive. Check out my next video on how to create a master sheet that links all your sheets to a clickable table of contents that updates by itself.